Alright you guys, welcome back to another U150 video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the games that Grady and I played against each other in a 4v4 tournament. Now there's a couple things to be said a lot about these games. Thing number one is that we filmed these in Seattle instead of Spokane, so I didn't have the camera mount, so we had to do this side thing, and that made it so that sometimes like Grady and I just got really distracted and like you couldn't see the discard piles or the prize counts and stuff. So I'll try to keep you updated with things that are being played. Um, I don't know. I haven't actually went back and looked through these since we played them a week ago, so I don't know how well those are going to come. I just know that like they're not the best quality in terms of that. So apologize for that. But if you didn't know what we did, Grady and I did a 4v4 tournament where we decided to build decks independently of one another, not telling him or trying not to tell the other person what was in our decks and whatnot. And the whole goal of this was to basically establish a better understanding of how to metagame and whatnot. You know, like anticipating what we thought the other person would play. When we did our tournament against each other and everything like that, we knew what the other person was playing, so we could kind of adjust our strategy based off that. But this kind of opened it up a little bit more and gave it a little bit more skill based. So the 4v4 tournament, we pick four decks, four distinct decks from each other, and if you win with that deck, it gets retired, quote unquote. So you can no longer like that deck wins and it moves on, sort of thing, right? So you have to win at least one game with all four decks. It's Conquest format for those of you that don't know what's going on there. So this matchup is I decided to play a Crobat spread deck. Yeah, my Crobat spread. Basically, it's a whole bunch of really fast Crobat hitters, but you also play stuff like Executor to stop supporters. You play Greninja. You play a 1/1 Clefable line. So like if you were to really accurately describe it, I think I would describe it as Crobat box sort of thing. Sure. It's not like straight Crobat rush. And then Grady here is playing the classic Noivern Garb. Nothing really too cute in the deck. I didn't anticipate Grady playing Noivern Garb. I thought that Grady would play like he thought I double gamed it, right? Like I was like, man, he's really hype on Noivern Garb, so he might think that I'm teching against him, so he won't play it, so that all my techs are useless. But no, he just actually was just like, nope, I'm gonna play it. So I knew he was gonna play it, and I didn't tech against it because I thought he wasn't gonna play it, and blah 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 blah. So that's how that worked out, I guess, in this specific matchup. But if we look here, I think I Guzma'd so I could get the access to like an Ultra Ball, so I could start getting some stuff out, naming that Porygon. And I think what I ended up doing actually is copying Strike and Run with Clefable. So basically, I'm controlling when the item lock goes, I suppose. I made sure, yeah, I Strike and Run. I made sure to Guzma up the Claydol so I could get some more stuff out just because I was kind of going slow. I did know that the Clefable would be big in this matchup, especially since I could copy. If he doesn't have energy down on the Noivern, I could copy that and keep him from doing special energies with the second attack, whatever the 120 is. I can item lock him back, or I can boom burst. Like I had a lot of options here, even though I knew I was going to be item locked, and that was going to definitely be a big old struggle for Crobat. So, like I said, it's kind of hard to see each other's discard piles. So when we play stuff straight to the discard pile, sometimes you can't see it. So I apologize in advance for that. I thought about not posting these videos and instead just doing another PokeBeach article about it. Um, but you know, that would deprive you of even attempting to see these games. So hopefully, hopefully you like what you see. But it's still the early parts of the game here where we're just doing double Spirit Tomb locks until we can get stuff out. Grady's going to use this to get the Noivern. I'm basically just like, okay, I can't play items like ever. I just want to get set up here. I can't, you know, I have to get him out of the active. I already broke my Guzma, so maybe if I can get a Lysander here, who knows. Another point of note actually is that I updated all my decks to have 60 HP Porygons and the Baltoys, where Grady did not. And that is actually one of the big things. Like if you notice, Grady is playing the 50 HP Baltoy there. He's got the Free Retreat Porygon, which I can still play, but I made sure to get the 60 HP one down for my Porygon 2 just to take away the Boom Burst play. But because of Clefable, I was able to, you'll see in a bit, like I was able to really abuse that on him. So still double item locked here. I just played a Sycamore to really no avail. I kind of just attached and evolved, I suppose. Greedo will come up and now start the item lock process, and here we go. So he never got an evolution on all of his bench Pokemon, and that opens this very obvious Boom Burst play coming up. And Greedy knows this, and at this point I go, hey, he just item locked me with a very obvious all this stuff on the bench. Maybe I should try to bounce this Broken Time Space. I think that's what I really needed to do. I just needed to get a Force of Giant Plants out, but instead I miss all that stuff. So we go and copy Boom Burst. I was just seeing if Boom Burst did out to the active as well, which it does. And clearing his board, saying, look, if you don't knock me out next turn, there's a real good chance I can kill you. A really good chance. But Grady was prepared for all of this. He has recovery methods in his hand already. Grabs the Porygon with the Time Space Distortion, and he's got the Rescue Stretcher for the Baltoy. So he was set to go. The Broken Time Space is going to be kind of awful just because he can, if he's got Surge, he can grab stuff. Floatstone, I don't know why that Floatstone is much of a debate. Maybe he's looking at retreating the Noivern. But he does have a Teammates in his hand as well, so he looks to be pretty set up here. I think that's what he's playing there as a Teammates. Most likely grabbing the, I mean, I would assume the two support Pokemon on the bench, but could be something else. Oh, sorry, definitely a Muscle Band. He's definitely going to, one of those is going to be Muscle Band. Probably the other one's either Claydol or Porygon, Porygon 2. The Muscle Band so he can knock me out with Item Lock here. Or actually, no, he just decides to straight Oak. I would have grabbed at least a Muscle Band with that, but he decided to say Porygon 2 is going to grab me, and eventually I can draw into it. And if I do 59 unlock you, it's not the worst thing. I think I would have guaranteed the Muscle Band is what I would have done, but that is A-okay. Looks like he doesn't hit it, but he's got stuff to draw cards with. He's got a Lux Ball there, an Acro Bike. I think I saw a Bursting Balloon and an Energy. So he's still going to draw some cards. That Lux Ball could probably grab him a, at the very least, a Lapras for something. He can't Evo Soda because he just played the Baltoy. Even with Broken Time Space doesn't work like that. So I think he's just trying to get cards out of hand and see what he can Claydol into. An Acrobike looks like it grabs him the Hot Tech of the Blacksmith, which Grady said that he and Kyle were testing, and it was really good apparently. I mean, I believe it. And I think Blacksmith was one of them, and she decides to bounce. And I don't remember what the other card was. I missed it there, but that Lux Ball, either grabbing a Lapras or a Claydol. Or just the Uxie. We're going to try to draw into it. Oh, well, he does have the Mallow already in hand. I missed that the first time. So this Mallow will most likely go for the Muscle Band and maybe the Claydol. He obviously downloaded this Mallow. But I don't know why the Lux Ball just wouldn't go for Claydol. Yep, there it goes. He takes it back. So I'm like, why wouldn't you just Lux Ball for Claydol there? Which he does. So got the two cards here. Muscle Band's definitely going to be one of them. Don't really know what the other one is. It might be a piece of the puzzle, of the Garbodor puzzle. The way to get that out, or it might be a Goop or something. Okay, we'll play the Pal Pad for the Teammates, and most likely the Mallow? Nope, Black Belt. I'm surprised by the, oh wait, yeah, Black Belt makes sense just because I took 4 prizes right away, and he's going to be behind for the next couple turns at least. So there's the Muscle Band, there's the Goop, which you got, and takes the knockout. My response is going to be very limited considering I am ability locked and item locked. Really, like that right there, that bench attachment just signals a paralyzing gaze, and we hit it. And that's all that I'm going to be doing this game pretty much. I have the bubble there as well, and I chose to go with Dunsparce primarily because I want to keep the Froakie safe. And then realizing this on the outside of things, that, you know, well, like, you know, if he was going to Guzma, he's going to Guzma up the Porygon too, right? So that Froakie's not going to die, so I kind of wanted to prioritize the Froakie just in case I get Frogadier Greninja, because he can't one-shot Frogadier Greninja outside of item lock, so it's guaranteed at least 100 damage, if that makes sense. So looks like Greedy will play an item finder for a Lux Ball for the Guzma to get out of the paralyzation. And yep, the Gorgon that will go to the Porygon 2. And he's just going to retreat right back into the item lock here. Just gotta really chip away at this guy. That's what the goal is. If I can knock out the Noivern, I'll be okay. I got 4 prizes left to take. He still has 6. So my 4 knockouts coming with that board sweep and the boom burst. His 2 prizes coming with the Claydol and not the Claydol, sorry, the Spiritomb and the Clefable knockouts. So the Guzma is the first thing. So Buddy Buddy, what are we gonna grab with Buddy Buddy here? Grady was really kind of debating, should I play this Buddy Buddy or not. I have the Clefable line and the Spiritomb, I believe. And I go with the Spiritomb just so I can item lock him back if that ever becomes a thing. Just make sure a way to guarantee that, I suppose. Computer search will come down. That's going to go for probably a piece of the Garbodor puzzle, you would assume. Yep, there is the Trubbish. Oh, and the Garb. So, looks like computer search was for at least the Trub. Let's see what he decides to bench, if he decides to bench anything. I think Grady's just trying to sequence the benching of, yep, so there's the Clef Key. You just want to keep one spot open. And then the Clef Key to the Garbodor, and then the knockout, and I draw, and this is going to be an uneventful turn as well. Retreat, no supporter, no nothing, trying for the Paralyze again, and we hit it. So 2 turns in a row of hitting it, but no supporter is the real bad part there. Energy removal to the Froakie signals, hey, this, you can't even have this out. Like, you don't even have a way, like, if you miss energy, if I hit this attachment and you don't have energy, you still can't keep paralyzing me because that's getting really annoying. So, no supporter, no nothing for my turn. It is a strict draw pass. Grady in full control at this point, even though he's still down in prizes. Once he takes 1 more, he will be even. So if you can find a way out of this one, he'll be set. The Claydol is not necessarily the obvious target if he has a Guzma because of... I was just seeing what was going on. Because it only has 70 HP instead of the 80, so he would need something to bump that damage up. Maybe the Blacksmith? Who knows? Energy attachment down to the Lapras so that he can swoop it later. That's what there's going for. There's an Erica, and you're like, damn right, I'm going to take these 3. I need a supporter. Haven't played one in 2 turns. Have no way of drawing cards. At the very least, Grady will try to get a tool onto the Garbodor, so I can't use Claydol. If that's the only thing you can do. So a Retriever onto the Clef Key, and looks like he will take the Lysander. He did get, or sorry, that's not a Lysander. That's Versus Seeker for Guzma. So Guzma ups the Claydol, so retreats back into the Noivern from the Claydol. And I think he had the knockout somehow, some way. I think he played the Blacksmith or something. Like I said, the discard pile being off the screen is really rough. So I showed him the brinies that I had that. Choreo comes down as kind of a way, hopefully, just to kind of threaten his discard pile. I don't know if I actually end up attacking with it. I might here. But we do hit the Sycamore after 3 turns of nothing. And no energy came down right away. That signals to me I didn't get it. And yep, which is another Paralyzing Gaze. This time we fail it. So the first turn that I really needed to hit it after hitting a supporter, I missed the Paralyzing Gaze. So no energy, no nothing. That bench is really pathetic. He's taking away both my support Pokemon. It really puts the less of a strain on getting out the tool onto Garbodor. Not as important there. The Pokemon building up in his discard pile is relevant because it will force him to trump card at some point, you'd think, considering that he's used a lot of his recovery cards. So he's going to have to trump card at some point, but there's a Celebi EX. My mind goes, okay, if he ever gets 8 in that discard pile, that thing's dead. Looks like he's putting computer search on the top, and I think he's just going to clear it all right into it. This game was a lot of Grady playing and me just trying to get on by. But at the very least, we know that Grady will take the prize lead with this attack, depending on what he's killing. Most likely just going to take the knockout on the Dunsparce. No reason to get fancy and take a knockout on anything else, really. But a computer search comes down. That might be for the trump card. We will see. Hand is off screen. No, there's a bursting balloon and Colress, actually. So just a way to reset. I think you computer search for the bursting balloon, just as a non-Pokemon way to set up the Claydol. think that's really what that was all about there. And eventually trying to draw onto that trump to reset. So he's got a Porygon Z in his hand. That's not going to do him a whole lot of good considering I can't evolve anything. That's the only card that I saw from his hand get flashed real quick. It's a big old discard pile, and I think I remember calculating at this point that Grady had 7 Pokemon in his discard pile. He has the swoop in his hand, but he can't play it because it will put the Lapras in the discard pile. Excuse me. So he plays the scoop up onto the Celebi. Can't bench it back down though because of the bursting balloon. So he just scoops. And we will take the swoop teleporter, it looks like. Yeah. He does decide to play it. I think he might actually take it back. But no, the scoop up, at the very least, what the scoop up does is it makes it so I can't knock out Celebi. But he will take the knockout on the Dunsparce, promoting Zubat. What do we do here? Item locked and ability locked. That's what Noivern Garb does well and just kind of keeps you in this stage of lockedness. And Teammates was the top deck of choice here. Top deck of choice? The top deck I got. So at least one of these will be an energy, and I bet you the next one will probably be a supporter of some sort. Just for next turn. But I can guarantee you one of them is the energy. Considering I didn't get it last turn, I might have been able to draw the Teammates off the Sycamore, but I didn't get an energy last turn. So at the guaranteed this is going for at least one energy. The other card is going to be very hard to distinguish. But I think it'll just be a Revelation Dance. Depending on how many are in his discard pile, I might just take the knockout on the Shinx so I can put the rest of the damage counters elsewhere. What I end up doing here, I think I'm doing the math and trying to put the damage onto the Noivern, as much damage onto the Noivern, because I know this Choreo is going to last 2 turns, because he can't afford to just kill it, considering that I'll just get my items back and go off. So, all right, retreat, and here comes the Revelation Dance. Yeah, 4 there, the rest onto the Noivern, and so that's 4, 6, 7. Oh, sorry, I did. I'm trying to see how many that was. Just for clarification purposes, we're going to rewind it a smidge here to see how much damage I actually put down. So there's 80 damage there. I think that Shinx is 50, so that's 40. 80 will put it to 50. So there was 10 in there, 9 in there. 9 is a discard pile. And what that does is now I can Revelation Dance is active for knockout, going down to 1 prize if he doesn't kill a Choreo. But if he kills the Choreo by doing the 120 damage attack, I get my items. So Grady is having a debate here. He's got all of his support, his abilities back online. Just got done being locked. A whole bunch of hands. There's a Lucamine and a Bill I saw in his hand. So the only 2 cards I got to see. You could Lucamine for the Mallow and Bill into them. I don't think necessarily the item lock is going to be the issue here. The issue for Grady here is trying to get a knockout onto this Oricorio. I don't think you can necessarily afford to Lysander or Gust of Wind anything up. The Choreo is definitely the threat. The other thing that Grady really needs to consider here is trumping, using trump card here so that Choreo is doing little to no damage. I think that's the other priority at this point because the Choreo is going to just start running train here. So let's see what Grady decides to do. He is thinking really hard. Most of this game was Grady-sided. I probably should have called Grady and said, hey, do you have time to talk about this matchup? Because Grady spends most of this time playing, and most of me, I'm just drop passing or playing a supporter or something, just skating by. The Boom Burst helped me to stay in the game, right? But finishing out this game is the hard point. So Grady really looking through his discard pile. Most of it's in the discard pile. I think he needs to trump soon. Celebi EX looks like it's going to put Teammates back on top. He's going to bill into the Teammates. So that's his plan there. He's going to need to trump card. Now that the Celebi EX is on the bench, he needs to scoop it up or play a trump. And it looks like he will go ahead and play said Teammates. I think he's just going to start counting what's in his deck. I would assume probably a Oak and maybe, sorry, the trump card and then maybe the Oak. I really can't remember. But it looks like Grady's decision is still trying to be made. Very hard to commentate when Grady takes forever on his turns. Zing. So let's see. The thing in my mind, too, is that I could take a knockout on the Garbodor and take 2 prizes. I'm always keeping that in mind. But Junkome comes down. He's going to pitch a Lucamine and a not BTS, Dimension Valley. He's grabbing a bursting balloon with that, and then plays the trump. So Trump card makes sure that Choreo just doesn't do any damage. There's that bursting balloon. So with Trump and activating Garbodor, that's what he needed to do because he can't afford to give me items. So he has to take a 2-hit knockout and at least prevent some damage with Choreo. So that bursting balloon then comes down. And here's 70 damage onto the Choreo. That's a draw. I got a Baltoy and an Iris in the hand. I had said to him that was one of the cards that I got with the teammates. So it was an energy and an Iris, so I could use the second attack from Choreo to do 30 plus the 50 to knock him out. So I go down to 2 prizes, Grady at 3, and no item lock on board for Grady. He's going to need to find that Luxio. Having the BTS in play, remember all those turns ago when he had it, when I knocked it out, bouncing it then would have been super important because now it's in play, so Luxio can't just come out and keep me under the item lock. It's going to be very hard for me to knock out said Luxio. But we'll see what Grady does here. So he's got all of his tools at his disposal, just the item lock is going to have to come from the Luxio. The Wonder Lock comes down, guarantees that he will get the Garbodor. Looks like it's going to be a Versus Seeker for a Sycamore. Trying to draw on some stuff here. What would he need? Yep, there's the computer search, which almost practically guarantees it. I think he can probably just Versus Seeker for the teammates at this point and grab the straight up Luxio combo plus the energy. And that's going to knock out the Choreo and put me in such a bad spot with 2-2 prizes left. So this game, while on the surface of things, seems like it's closer than it is, but he does get the Luxio off of the swoop, knocks it out, goes down to 2-2 prizes. So disconnect, doing 30, item locking me, and I'm ability locked. Needed a supporter here, and it's just going to be a Sycamore, even though I had all of these items to go off with. If he had missed item lock there, it would have been game over. I had so many searching cards. But here's a Sycamore. It looks like, or sorry, a Juniper. It looks like I might have missed the energy to try to paralyze, because that would have came down right away. And yes, it is just a pass with a Zubat. Oop, no, I think I'm just trying to decide. Yep, it will be a pass with a Zubat in the active, no energies. Once again, the 8 energies I decided to play for this deck coming back to bite me super hard. I decided to leave the Zubat up there just because I figured it would be hard for him to get a Muscle Band again, considering it's already in his discard pile. And he'd have to burn an item finder to knock out the Zubat. And I really didn't want damage on this Froakie because I know the Froakie's going to need to take some hits. And then the Claydol, if I ever got an energy, I could do Baltoy plus some sort of damage modifier to try to get a knockout back on him. That was kind of the idea there. But yeah, at this point it's looking grim. Oh, excuse me. Wow. At this point it's looking grim. I really don't have anything on my field. I haven't evolved a Pokemon in eons at this point. Trying to see what Grady's move here is going to be. I think he's just trying to look for that Muscle Band so he can get the knockout. I think he's still playing his Misty's Wrath at this point. I don't know what he's trying to get for. I think Muscle Band is pretty much it. And Muscle Band on a way to get the Klefki back. So Junk Arm comes down. Let's see what Grady decides to pick up. Energy Retriever for the Klefki. So there's the Klefki. He needs the Muscle Band to be the only other thing I think he's really looking for here. And there's the item finder for said Muscle Band. Should be a pretty straightforward play here. I'm just going to bill first to see if he wants to discard some cards. Then the item finder for the Muscle Band coming down. We'll take the knockout on the Zubat. Going to go ahead and Claydol, and then probably Wonderlock and end his turn there, taking a knockout. Let's see what Grady decides to. He's just going to attach an energy there, so he has a retreat method. If that ever comes up, you can just attach and retreat. Oak still just going off, just trying to get as many cards through his deck as possible so I can't end him and do something weird or, doesn't want any sort of shenanigans. Wants to thin that deck so that he can draw into the Guzma if I do paralyze him. So there's Lapras N, And I don't think he's played a supporter yet, so there's a Windstorm, a Palpad, and most likely just going to be N into... I only have one prize left. When did I take those two prizes? Oh, I took the Luxio knockout. I took Luxio, the Boomburst knockouts, and the Noivern. So I'm at one prize, and he's at two prizes. But he's ending me down to one here. What do I really need? I think he put the Iris back in my deck. I can't remember. But here comes... What do I got in my hand? What do I got? I think you have to promote the... Yep, you got to promote that. There's the Claydol. And nothing after that. So literally just a Claydol. Grady will be looking for some way to do 50. I think Grady actually is going to Lapras here for the Lysander so that I can't retreat. I think that's what he's going for. So there's the Celebi, putting the computer search on top. Gonna computer search for Iris and call it good, not even the Lysander. So Grady does take the first game of the series. Really, really great series, or sorry, really great set or game. Wow, really great game there. Starting off early with the crazy boom burst play, and then after that, me missing a few energies. He got out of paralyzed lock. It's basically just how to maintain that lead with Crobat Garb and slowly whittle it down. So that was game one. Thank you for watching, guys. Games two and the rest of the games will be up probably sometime this weekend. Thanks for watching.